Welcome to Terrifying Tales, the channel dedicated to bringing you original horror stories. When the sun goes down. Hurry it up, Wilkie screamed. His tone wasn't out of frustration. The shadows lengthened on the road between the buildings. His fear was rising. Billy remained under the hood of the beat-up utility. Screaming at me won't get it done any quicker. Tommy took the scene in from his vantage point, resting against the outside of the abandoned jewellery shop. Wilkie paced back and forth on the road behind Billy. Tommy didn't think less of Wilkie for showing his fear. In fact, he would have thought him a fool if he wasn't afraid. Tommy shifted his backpack from one shoulder to the other. "Okay, try it again," Billy said. Wilkie jumped into the driver's seat and the engine roared to life. Billy shook his head. "Told you not to worry." "Come on, Tommy!" Wilkie shouted. Tommy threw his cigarette on the ground and tossed the backpack into the tray of the utility. "Step on it," he said as he joined the others inside the cab. Screeching tyres echoed along the street as Wilkie put his foot down. The shadows had finished their stretching. Darkness filled the street as the sun began its final descent across the horizon. Unspoken tension filled the vehicle. All three men knew what nightfall meant. Wilkie switched the headlights on and slammed the brakes. "Please, help me," the woman screamed. She rushed along the road, waving her arms. All three men exchanged glances. The woman tapped against the driver's side window. Tommy gave a subtle nod. Wilkie wound the window down. "Thank God," she said, sucking in breath. "You've got to help me." "What happened?" Billy asked. "What are you doing out here?" Tommy kept his eyes on the nearby rooftops. "I'm a teacher from up north," she said. "I've brought my class on a field trip and the bus started having problems. We pulled into the town thinking we could get help and then the bus died. I left the students with the driver while I looked for help. Before I found you, I thought the whole town was abandoned." Wilkie started to wind the window up. "Sorry, we can't help you." "Wait," Tommy said. Wilkie left the window half open. "How old are the students?" Tommy asked. "Third grade," the teacher said. Tommy's eyes found the dull red glow in the sky above. "What's your name?" "Amanda." Tommy opened the passenger side door. "Well, Amanda, get in." "What the fuck are you doing, Tommy?" Billy asked. "We need to get the fuck out of here now." Tommy stepped back and allowed Amanda into the vehicle. "We've got a few minutes," he said. "Are you really comfortable leaving a group of kids here after dark?" Wilkie's grip tightened on the steering wheel, but he and Billy remained quiet. "That's what I thought," Tommy said. "Okay, Amanda, direct these guys to the bus." Tommy jumped into the tray and tapped the roof. Tommy began to second-guess his decision as the vehicle weaved back through the streets of the centre of town. They shouldn't be here, he knew that. But the kids, it wasn't their fault they were in the town. The headlights lit up the bus sitting neatly stopped on the street outside the old cinema. Amanda jumped out of the vehicle before Wilkie could stop. "I found help!" she shouted, sprinting through the open bus door. Billy climbed out of the vehicle to follow Amanda. Tommy jumped down from the tray. "Keep the engine running, Wilkie." "They're not here!" Amanda shouted as she jumped down from the bus. "Shh!" Billy said. "Kids!" Amanda shouted, ignoring Billy. "It's Mrs. Brock. I'm back with help." Billy hurried to quiet Amanda. Tommy opened the backpack sitting in the tray of the vehicle. He pulled the 9mm pistol out and tucked it into the waistband of his jeans. "Stay sharp out here," he whispered to Wilkie before joining Amanda and Billy. "Where do you think they went?" Amanda asked. She missed the knowing glance between Tommy and Billy. "Maybe in there," she said, pointing to the open door of the cinema. A tiny silhouette appeared in the shadows of the doorway. "I'm back with help," Amanda said. The shadow retreated into the building. "Hey, wait!" Amanda sprinted inside before either Tommy or Billy could stop her. "Time to go!" Wilkie shouted. Tommy knew he was right. He hurried back to the utility and grabbed the backpack out of the tray. "If we're not back in 2 minutes, leave." "Leave the fucking bag," Wilkie said. Tommy smiled. "If you want it, you'll have to wait." "Are we really going in there?" Billy asked. His voice held firm, but his eyes told a different story. 2 minutes. Tommy repeated. It hasn't been dark long. There's still a chance. The smell of mould filled his nostrils as Tommy entered the darkened foyer. As his eyes adjusted, he couldn't believe it was only a few months ago this place was still in business. Torn popcorn packets and crushed drink cups littered the floor. The glass panels of the front counter were smashed to pieces. The theatre doors were wide open beside the counter. Tommy stepped carefully to avoid the rubbish. The only sound he heard as he crossed the foyer was the ragged breath of Billy, close behind him. The theatre opened into rows of comfortable-looking burgundy chairs, standing before a giant curtained screen. Even in disrepair, the room held its regal elegance. Amanda stood on the stage in front of the screen. She was making her way towards a small child at the centre. "Where's everyone else?" she whispered. The acoustics of the room caused her voice to carry. The child was sitting on the floor of the stage, head bowed, clutching their knees. "Amanda, wait!" Tommy shouted. She ignored him and crouched beside the child. "I'm so cold," the child whispered. "Will you hug me?" "Of course," Amanda said. Tommy hurried down the aisle towards the stage. Too late. Amanda clutched the child and lifted him from the ground. The pale blue eyes revealed themselves as the child's head reared back. Amanda screamed as the child's fangs sank into her throat. The pair dropped to the stage floor, the child on top grunting hungrily. "Let's get the fuck out of here," Billy screamed. Tommy turned. Pairs of pale blue eyes stared back at him from the balcony. There was no time to warn Billy. They dropped from the balcony on top of him. Billy sank beneath the seats, his screams of terror cut off sharply. A chorus of high-pitched screams echoed through the theatre as more pairs of blue eyes appeared on the balcony above. They dropped to the lower level. Tommy burst through the fire door beside the stage. An avalanche of hurried footsteps followed. He smashed through the rear door into the alley beside the cinema. The door slammed closed behind him. He sprinted down the street. The door crashed open behind him. His eyes caught movement on the surrounding rooftops. Please still be there, he thought. Relief filled him. The utility was still running on the street out front. The driver's side door was ajar. A pool of blood sat beneath. "Wilkie!" The footsteps behind closed in. Tommy threw the backpack on the passenger seat and jumped in. The second he pulled the door closed, the vehicle lurched violently as bodies slammed into it. They filled the windows with their snarling pale faces, their hands slamming the glass, desperate for their meal. Tommy slammed his foot down. A frustrated scream filled the air as the hungry faces fell away from the moving vehicle. A sprinting crowd of pale blue eyes filled the street behind, not ready to give up. Tommy allowed himself to relax slightly as he watched the crowd fall further behind in the rearview mirror. A set of pale blue eyes shot up from the rear tray. So that's where Wilkie went, Tommy realised. He pulled the pistol from his waistband and fired through the rear window. Wilkie clutched the roof of the utility and swung around to the driver's side door. His fist smashed through the window. Tommy fired again. Wilkie grabbed the pistol and tossed it onto the street. His hand gripped Tommy's throat. The high-pitched scream was deafening as Wilkie bared his fangs and leaned in. Tommy clutched the backpack from the passenger seat and pushed it into Wilkie's face. He swerved violently into the cars parked on the side of the street. Wilkie and the bag were knocked loose. The bag split open and the jewellery from the jewellery store scattered across the street. Tommy no longer cared. As he passed the sign telling him he was leaving Queenstown, that was more valuable to him than any score. If you like what you heard, please like and share the video. Please leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. And remember, the dark plays tricks with our minds, but sometimes it's not a trick at all. Sometimes there really is something evil lurking there.